I'm down to dunk.
And I'm down to dunk.
I'm down to dunk.
This is J-Dub, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Shai Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lindy Waters, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kenneth Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to dunk.
We say this is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
Cracklin Oat Brand?
Have you had Cracklin Oat Bran?
No,
No. Okay.
but it's healthy.
You a big oat brand guy?
I'm a big Oat Bran guy.
Okay.
I think I would switch it with Fruity Pebbles.
Okay, eat faster. Don't put as much in the bowl.
You have a gallon of milk I can also take home.
You don't have milk at home?
One cinnamon toast.
Okay.
Crunch.
Yeah. Cereal is great. Yeah.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays is Michele Berra. Michele, oh, what's up?
Winter is here, Andrew. Finally, after, 3 months of autumn that looks like summer, we are finally there. I'm wearing a jacket because,
Nice.
it's cold, pretty cold.
Same in Oklahoma. It's gotten really cold here. It's also Thanksgiving week, which means nothing to you.
Mhm.
Have you had any traditional American Thanksgiving food before?
Yes, I've been to America during Thanksgiving. I probably already told the story.
Now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm asking you this, I think we've had this exact same conversation before. But go ahead.
I made a very poor decision. There were a couple of friends that told me, "Hey, why don't you come and stay with us for Thanksgiving?" All Europeans, but in America, since I don't know 3-4 years. And I said, "No, I have to go to Chicago to visit Chicago because it's the only 3 days that I have." And I ended up having Thanksgiving in a restaurant, and it was terrible. The turkey was super duper dry. It was. I had to wait 2 hours and a half before I got seated. Even if I had a reservation, it was the most miserable Thanksgiving ever. Since then, even if I wasn't in America for any other Thanksgiving, I try to have a sort of Thanksgiving-like meal around Thanksgiving because, of course, here it's not vacation. So
Yeah, you do like a turkey and some stuffing, or what do you do?
yeah, I had that a few years ago. This year, it's Laura's birthday on Thanksgiving, so probably over the weekend we will have some food, and there will probably be something Thanksgiving related involved.
Nice.
We're yet to decide, but yeah.
Well, happy Thanksgiving to all of our American listeners. Enjoy it. Hope it's great. Hope it's better than the Thunder 7-9 record, which is surprisingly good, actually. Which I think maybe some Thanksgiving food is surprisingly good. 7-9, they're 12th in the West. They currently are 18th in offense at a 110.7. Their defense is 18th as well, 111.8 for a -1 net rating, which puts them 21st in the NBA. That feels about right as far as the team goes. So this is, we've been saying this position almost exclusively, like 9th position in the lottery standings. And that's about where they are. And so that to me is pretty interesting because I think this is about the caliber of team they are. They've also had a tough schedule to a degree. And Shai has been obviously just an absolute supernova so far this season, but just your general thoughts on where they are in the NBA compared to the rest of the league.
I've kind of watched everyone playing so far. Not entire games for every team, but I have a grasp of what is going on. And I think that OKC over the past, I would say 6 games, had basically the regression to the mean in terms of opponent free 3-point shooting. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I have Cleaning the Glass open up, and basically opponents are shooting 36.5% according to Cleaning the Glass, which is, I would say, slightly above average. And so you can say that the defense is around a middle of the pack. And offensively, to me, the fact that they didn't have Trey Mann for the last few games, when Shai's off, things are really clunky so far. There are very few players that can put pressure like the way he did, like the way he does. So I think that it's surprising, but I think that they are slightly better than what they have showed over the past week, even if Shai has been amazing. But there were moments, multiple moments in the game where I think that there are stuff that they will clean up. And they are super young. And so I think that if they allow them to establish themselves for something like 50 games instead of 35, we will see something better than what we have seen now. We have seen glimpses. As soon as the defense is not perfect, they make the defense pay. I mean, it's not a coincidence that they played against New York and they looked amazing. Then they play against Washington, which is a very good team defensively, without some of the weapons that they have, and they struggled a bit. And they struggle against Memphis's length. I think that length is putting them, is giving them trouble, especially when they don't have many creators in terms of efficient points.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at them just the last 10 games, 22nd in defense.
Yeah.
114.1.
Do you
Offense.
have one 3-point shooting?
Yeah, I can pull it up here in a second. The offense is 14th at a 112.1. So a little bit above league average there. And then in net rating, they're like 23rd in the last 10 games at a minus 1.9. So they haven't been one of the better teams in the league. That to me is like, that's a sign of a young team.
Yeah.
Like, this is how young teams play, is erratic and kind of all over the place. And they're one of the best defensive teams one week, and then the next week they're one of the best offensive teams, and then they're somewhere in the middle. You know, they lose that game in Detroit, which looking back feels weird. But then they hang with the Celtics, and you know, they've had good wins and they've had some bad losses, and you know, you kind of mix all that up and it's like, yeah, this is a young developing team. They are playing about as well as they can. I mean, that Memphis loss was really interesting because it was one of the first games where Shai just didn't have it. You know, he's 6 of 18, 2 of 4 from 3, finishes with 15 points on 18 shots. He just did not have it going. And they still are
Yes and no.
They are still in the game. What do you mean, yes and no?
I mean, I don't want to complain too much about how Shai didn't have it. I find it very, very bizarre that he had just one free throw while attacking he had just four shots less than his usual average.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter, he played 4 minutes and he took one shot.
Yeah. So in 3 quarters, he was basically on average in his usual amount of possessions. And he was attacking the lane relentlessly, and it just didn't generate enough. I mean, it's weird. It's very weird. It may be one night off.
Yeah, when you're leading the league in drives and you're getting there, and there were several calls that you could say like that should have been a free throw. That should have.
Yeah.
And he took one free throw, and it was a tech free throw.
Exactly.
You know,
and that helps you getting into rhythm with your shot, with your and so if you see that nothing is working, then it's probably piling up on you. But yeah, he didn't have a great game. So it's but they hang on with others.
Yeah, they played well, and he's not every night are you going to get the benefit of the whistle. So he has to basically convince the officials to blow the whistle, and he didn't.
Yeah.
And part of that's on the officiating crew because I don't think they did a great job, but some of that's on Shai too. I mean, he's got to be a part of that puzzle too. Like, he's got to make them call, and that's what James Harden did for forever.
Yeah.
It's like he just made the officials. He just bent the game toward himself and made the officials do it. Also, a part of it is he's not a complainer.
No, he's not.
The officials are human beings as well. If you are officiating Luka or Harden or Durant was like this, Westbrook was like this, and part of the way you bend the officials to call these fouls is one, you just have contact at the rim or with the defender. Second way is you get on their nerves and you just make it to where like, hey, you're not seeing what's happening. Look. And the coaches do this, and a lot of players do this. And Mark is really the only one that's really doing this for the Thunder.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like Mark is pretty vocal during the games. If he sees something, he will let them know. And he will call them by name and yell at the officials, have them come over. He'll let them know exactly what he thinks, exactly what's on his mind. But you don't hear that from Shai. And so, like, I think that's a slice of the pie for him. And it's honestly probably better for Thunder fans overall, just because it can be exhausting watching Luka Doncic night in, night out, just because, like, he's so great. But, man, does he complain after every single play. Every single play. There was he missed a game winner the other night. No one was touching him. I don't even know what he was saying to the officials after the ball didn't go down. I know you just missed the shot, dude. Just live with it. And then he's yelling at the officials as if they had something to do with it. I don't know. That can be exhausting. But also, he's doing it for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
He's not doing it just because he's a crybaby. I mean, he's doing it because he knows that maybe it bends the officials 5% more in my favor because I'm making them look at every single thing that's happening. And so Shai just doesn't do that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But we did get to see Josh Giddey play pretty well in this game. Yeah. His stats overall looked really good. 20 points, 6 boards, 11 assists, a block, only 3 turnovers, which feels low for Josh this season because it feels like he turns the ball over all the time. 10 of 20 from the field. Didn't hit a 3, is 0-4 from 3. But, Josh started to get a rhythm. It's going to be the thing that we talk about all season is how are Josh and Shai making it work? Because it does feel like, oh, Shai's having a great night. No, Josh isn't. Josh had a great night. No, Shai's. I mean, it's just getting that to gel is going to be the biggest thing for this Thunder team this season, is trying to find a way for that to happen. And there's a good chance it doesn't happen this season.
Yeah. I was looking at some overall numbers for players and plus minuses and stuff like that. It's weird that OKC has basically they are basically 0 in net rating, but this is not how the net rating for each individual player is distributed. There is a chunk of players that is in double figures, basically, from Baisley to Treman to Shai, and then Muscala and Wiggins. These are the players that have +7 or more. And then there was a crop of players where there is Giddey, JRE, Jalen Williams, J-Dub, that are quite negative. There is also Poku in there. And what is weird to me is that there is nothing in their play except for maybe Giddey, and in some cases JRE, where you can say, oh, yeah, I know why they are bad. Or I know why Wiggins is so good. Or I know why Mike Muscala is so good. No, there is not. I mean, Muscala hasn't been very good, yet he leads the team in net rating. Jalen Williams,
14 on the season.
Yeah, and exactly.
He's not played well. And you can even see on his face, like, he's a little discouraged with how he's played this year.
He's not making shots. And yet, with him on the court, everything is working. With Baisley is a completely different situation. Baisley has been very good defensively, and every stat checks that. He was also playing in the first part of the year where OKC was right around 500. I don't know, but
he's in the 95th percentile in points per possession on the defensive end.
Yeah,
Baisley is.
minus 12. When like the defense is 12 points better when he's on the court. And that is more than the impact that Shai has on offense. So just to give you a frame of reference. So I think that it's weird that you can see guys individually, they're not playing so bad. I mean, Giddey had a terrible first half against Memphis and a great second half. And in spots, in a lot of games, he hasn't been good. Whereas last season he was basically at 0 and now is quite bad. But like the net rating is not indicative of how they are playing on the court. So it's something that I want to see how it goes, how it move forward. Because 2 weeks ago I checked that and it was already like this, and said, oh, this was going to revert. It's impossible that Giddey is so negative, or that Poku is so negative, because I can clearly see that he's doing good things on the court. But for some reason, the lineup when Giddey's off the court and Shai's on are working extremely well. Extremely well. And the lineups with Shai and Giddey, and most nights also JRE, are not working. So I think that this is why I'm saying, I mean, the lineup that are working because Shai has space around him. And this will, maybe not to this degree, but this will continue to be good. If you put shooters around him, this will work. If you put shooters and a good defender, it will work better. The other lineups, though, have a lot to improve on, because there is nothing technically that doesn't work. Like Jalen Williams is playing well alongside Shai. He's hitting shots. So why are those units so bad right now?
He's minus 21.5.
Yeah.
That's the worst on the team.
Yeah, by far.
If you were, I mean, it would take me just like a blind, just eye test kind of thing. If I didn't know that, I'd say like he's maybe like middle of the pack. I feel like he's been one of the better players for the Thunder this year, just overall. But he also plays with a lot of bench units, which has been hurting him. And so I think it's something to monitor for sure with him. The injury
he's almost as bad as Jabari Smith Jr.
God, Jabari Smith has been brutal. He played better against Golden State, but
I watched that game.
Boy, I don't know. I don't know about him. Even in the moments where he played well, it's just like he's got a long way to go. And he's really young, so I don't want to like write him off, but he's got a long way to go. So the Thunder just updated their injury report and upgraded Trey Mann to questionable from out. Poku is still out. Isaiah Joe is questionable, and Darius Bazley is questionable. Jang is still with the G League, and they sent Jay Will down to the G League last night. Is when they alerted everybody. I'm sure that you don't send him at night in the middle of the night. Like, all right, time to go to the G League, man.
Why not? Maybe they have evening practices where they watch films.
Could be. Hopefully Trey Mann plays. I miss watching Trey Mann play basketball. Yeah. He has been one of the bright spots when it comes to plus minus on the court, especially with Shai. He's a plus 10.9 on the season. That's good for fourth on the team. Shai is a plus 11. Wiggins is a plus 11.7. And then, as we mentioned, Mike Muscala, 14.1. And then Bazley is a plus 7. Lou Dort, plus 3.6. And then Usman Jang in limited minutes, a plus 2. Everybody else is negative. Kenrich negative. Poku's negative. Jerry is negative. Josh is negative. J-Dub negative. So it's very interesting. That doesn't exactly match the eye test. But also, they're like, to be fair, this is a middle of the road team, and I just kind of like all those guys. So you know what I mean? Like, somebody's got to be negative. Like, somebody has to be. And if I were to pick somebody, I wouldn't be like, oh, like Aaron Wiggins needs to be negative, or somebody's got to be negative. It's just the pendulum swing is just really strong. Is the weird thing.
Can I make you guess on something?
Yes.
Can you guess the net rating of Shai and Trey Mann together on the court? Around 300 possessions.
It's got to be like a plus 23 or something like that.
Yeah, very close. 22. What about if you add Aaron Wiggins? It's just 100 possession, so it's extremely small sample size. But it tells you how it went.
Plus
We didn't-
36.
39.
Wow. Yeah, that matches the eye test. And it is shooting. Like, it is definitely putting shooting around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yep.
It's like huge shock. A guy that leads the league in drives, a guy that is lethal from the mid-range, at the basket, even from three himself. Huge shocker that if you give him more space, things are going to go better for you. I mean, this is partly why I'm willing to just ride off a lot of like weird chemistry stuff this season with he and Giddey or with he and Dort or with he and anybody, just because the space that will be created vertically and out to three with Chet is going to change the way they play the game. And then we don't know who they're getting in the draft. We don't know if it's somebody that's going to make a difference right away. But if it is, that will change it too. And so just making sweeping judgments on, well, this will never work, and Giddey and he will never work. We just need to go ahead and trade Josh Giddey right away because this. No. I mean, maybe having Josh as like this ultimate connector piece out there with other really talented offensive players could be really good. I mean, they can't play like the Warriors. No one can play like the Warriors because no one has Steph Curry. But you just wonder, like the way that Draymond Green has played, Draymond doesn't shoot. Draymond is like is a negative shooter. He's just not good and hasn't been good. But he is part of why they can be who they are, because he is able to pass at the level he does and screen at the level he does. And so I just wonder what that looks like, in 3 or 4 years with Giddey still a part of this team.
And on top.
Michele, are you frozen?
No, I'm not.
I think he's frozen.
No.
He looks deep I think you're back, maybe, or just frozen in a different position. I was going to go over players shooting 40% or better from three and talk about if they're sustainable or not. Michele, are you back?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, there you go. You're kind of fading in and out for me. Okay. Okay, I think you're fully back. I can see you blinking again. So, okay. So let's go over.
Thank God, it's probably your connection. This time I'm good. In the chat they're saying so.
Oh, it could very well be my connection. Okay, so let's go over. There are 6 players shooting 40% or better from three right now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about if these are sustainable or unsustainable.
No, and no.
Starting with Aaron Wiggins, 40% on 1.9 attempts per game. How sustainable is this? And if it's not, where do you think he settles?
I think he's a 35% three-point shooter.
Okay.
Right now.
That's worse. That's worse than I would have hoped you have said. So he's from the corners. He's shooting 35.7% from the corners.
Yeah.
This season. And that's over half of his volume is from there. So he just must be, he's just hitting all of his above the break stuff.
Yeah, which is unlikely to continue. I think that it's possible that he settles around 35 or something like that. I think it's more likely that he drops than he stays like this.
Yeah. I'm a big Wiggins believer. I just think he's a good basketball player.
Oh, me too. And I think that the shooting has a lot to improve on, because I was discussing it with John on Thunder After Dark. Mm-hmm. I remember discussing with you that Wiggins had a very nice mid-range, smooth shot. And this was from Summer League 2 years ago. And that shot is nowhere to be seen. So I think that there are stuff that Wiggins is not doing right now on the court. He's clearly working on, and they will pop up again. Like Jeremy Grant. Do you remember when Jeremy was in college? He was mid-range only, almost.
Yeah.
Like in the first few years of the league, that shot was not.
I don't think he'd make it. I just didn't think he would make it
Yeah.
Syracuse.
but it wasn't here. Like that shot was not part of his NBA game. It was, hey, no. That thing is not for you right now. And then in year 4 or year 5, that became again a weapon that he was using, and he was scoring a lot. He became a 3-level scorer because of that. So I think the Wiggins has a lot, and the fact that he never ever makes a mistake in terms of decision making, in terms of positioning on the court. Yeah, of course he will make fouls and he will lose some turnover and stuff like that, but he's a low maintenance, effective, efficient player.
Yeah.
The more, the better.
Yeah, and he's great in this system in particular. I think the system that they play in makes him look better than if he were in Philly or something like that, whereas he's asked to be more of a standstill guy.
Oh, sure.
And so that's one thing to take into account with like all of these guys, is that they are all, for the most part, being put in positions to succeed. I think the only exception, I think, is Josh Giddey, because I just don't know that Josh with Shai and this kind of offense is like necessarily like the most ideal setting for him. Like he's got to learn a little bit. Like the most ideal setting for Josh is to probably have like a really good pick and roll big man, and then have shooting, out on the perimeter for him.
He needs speed. He needs speed and moving parts around him to be great.
Yeah, I just think if he could have somebody that sets a really good screen that has gravity, like Chet, frankly, and we saw some really good moments with he and Chet. That will change the way that he plays too. And so I don't know. I'm holding my judgment.
Yeah, but on Wiggins, you said but and for all the players, you say yes, but I mean they are developing in a system that is really functional for them.
Yeah,
it is the truth, but we can't praise teams like Miami and say, "Oh wow, they found Max Strus. Oh wow, look, Richardson is great with them," and or Dion Waiters, Justin Winslow, and then they go. Just this Winslow. Okay, I misspelled that. And then they go away, and they are clearly not the same.
Yeah,
I don't possibly care if whatever OKC is doing works just for OKC. It has to work just for OKC. I don't care.
Oh, I'm not saying.
I know that you don't
discount the players. Honestly, it's a positive thing, because for so long the Thunder did not have a favorable system where guys who look good elsewhere came in. And you're like, what happened to this guy? Was this guy who used to kill us? He used to destroy us all the time. What's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. If the opposite happens, like if a guy like Giddey is so good in OKC, or a guy like Aaron Wiggins, that someone is willing to pay a first rounder, you have options.
Yep,
you really do. So it's all good. And again, it's a huge testament to what OKC is doing development-wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next guy, Shai, 40.9% on 2.9 attempts per game. Is this a sustainable level of shooting for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Yeah, give it or take. I think that he will get more spot-up opportunities, which is barely getting right now. And he will hit less of his pull-ups. So I think that the two things will balance out. He will end up the season between 38 and 41, I think.
Yeah, he's 18 of 44 on the season.
Yeah.
And then with Wiggins, he's only 10 of 25, which I feel like I've seen Wiggins take more than 25 threes, but what do I know?
Because he played less games, and so you're condensing.
Yes, true. Isn't that weird? Like that's one of the weird parts about this season, is that you'll just have games where it's like, yeah, we're just not going to see Aaron Wiggins. He's like a healthy scratch. He's only played in 13 of the games. Yeah, that does feel a little bit strange at times, but that's just the way it has to be. Like if they're going to play Ousmane Dieng minutes, somebody's got to sit.
Yeah,
can't play everybody. Okay, next one, Poku, 41.7% on 3.4 attempts per game. He's 20 of 48 on the season.
I've seen a sturdy player. A very
2.9% from the corners.
yeah. I think that the shot looks very good.
Yeah.
He's taking great shots.
Yeah.
I think that 41 is a bit too much, but I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes the season around 37, which is
What about 39?
I think that is it's not like a Carolina Reaper take anymore, but it's still like a spicy jalapeno, something like that, where you think you're having a jalapeno and then it's too much.
Yeah.
You know the feeling like where you expect something is it's mild. Oh wow, it's not mild.
Yeah. No, I've been surprised, and I had the bold take that he would shoot 39%. I didn't really believe that he would do that. But
I mean, to me, 35 was already quite bold at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it felt insane. And it's not like his overall stats are just like, whoa, watch out, what's he doing? No, he's averaging 9.8 points per game, 5 boards, 1.6 assists. The 2 blocks per game, 1.9 blocks per game. That is probably the most astonishing thing is he's become a good shot blocker and not just within the flow of, a defensive possession, but that block that he had on Ja in transition where he's having to flip his hips, back and forth to keep up with where Ja Morant is going. Like I think Ja changed directions 3 or 4 times on that drive.
Yeah.
In transition. And Poku is able to stick with him, flip his hips, and block him. That was really something. That was one of those moments where like, oh, okay. Like he's starting to get it. And he had 10 points. And my bold prediction that he would have 35 points and a win in that game. I'll maintain that on an alternate timeline where he doesn't get hurt, that happens because he was killing it at the beginning of that game.
No, he's playing very well. And again, the last season we started to see in many games steady decision making for him with no results. Good and steady defensive possession, no blocks. Good and steady choices in offense, no shots that went in. Right now we're seeing better decision making because he's learning how to be more impactful defensively. The game doesn't seem very fast to him. It does when he's gassed at the end of games, which is, it's something that you can understand. But like he's playing better. And I was texting with a friend of the pod, Josh Morrison, that morning after, and he was saying to me, hey, we really need Poku. Now, I don't know that OKC really needs Poku. I think that Poku has been one of the best big men that they have, which is, they don't have many, and he's contributing every single night. Now, it's as we said before, the numbers are not translating really in wins because the best units that OKC has are small ball units. Almost every time when Kenrich or Wiggins play the 4 and you have a lineup that can run, it's better. But Poku has been surprisingly good. And he's 20 years old. Like it's not even 21.
Yep.
And yes, he had 2 seasons in the NBA already. That counts. But he's still 20. Yeah.
You just look at the progression that he's made from year 1 to year 3. Year 1, he's 34% from the field. Year 2, he's 40.8. And so far, just through 14 games, he's 49% from the field. Which a lot of that is just like pure decision making. And his ability to finish at the rim is a big deal. He's from 0 to 3 feet, he's 78.8%. Up from 70% last year. His rookie season, he shot 55% from 0 to 3 feet.
Yeah.
That's a terrifying, not an NBA player number. You go to his 3-point percentage.
You just said that Lu Dort is not an NBA player?
With the overall clumsy package that he's had, then yes, not an NBA player. Not the sturdy Lu Dort I'm talking about. Is that what Lu was shooting from 0 to 3 feet this year?
I think it was worse.
I gotta look at that here in a second. From 3, 28% rookie season on 4.6 attempts. He was down to 3.2 last year, but shot 28.9%, like just a hair of improvement. And then this season on 3.5 attempts, 41.7%, which is pretty wild. The free throws, which he hasn't shot very many, but he's 7
No,
of
he doesn't shoot
13.
many.
He's 7 of 13. So he like takes less than 1 a game, but has not been hitting his free throws. But overall, pretty sturdy numbers there for Poku. He has 26 blocks.
Yeah.
14 games in. In 61 games, how many did he have last year?
I don't know, 2 or 3 less.
He had 38.
Oh,
38 in 61 games. And in 14 games, he has 26.
yeah.
That to me is pretty wild when you just look at that. I mean, his block rate or his block percentage is a stat that they have on Basketball Reference, 7.1 compared to 2.9 last year.
Yeah. No, but you can tell that is quite different.
Yeah.
It's also opportunity because he's playing center way more.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then his usage is even down this year from 20% last year to 18%.
Which is something that we were advocating for last year, saying, hey, let him play with good players around.
Yes.
And let him be like less of a on-ball guy and more of a, hey, quick pass, decision making, but he doesn't really excel in live dribble actions.
No.
He may occasionally do that in transition. I love how he plays in pick and rolls with Shai. I think that he's finding the rhythm there. He's slipping screens, and he's trying to learn how to be more of a screener. But this center thing is this season. I mean, he's starting to do it right now, and I think that it works to perfection with Chet because, I mean, they can play together. I'm convinced of that, especially if they have good point of attack defenders that can follow guys on screen and fights and in blocks and stuff like that. So I think that that unit will be quite interesting to watch. I can't wait.
Yeah. In the chat, Griffey Kaprinsky asks, where does Poku rank in the league for blocks? He is currently in blocks per game. He is 8th in blocks per game.
I was about to say top 10, top 15 for sure.
Tied with Anthony Davis and Zubac. How about that?
Welcome back, by the way. Anthony Davis is finding his way back. Maybe.
Yeah. He's played well. I mean, there's no doubt that he's played well recently. With no LeBron and then partly no Westbrook last night. Poku's also 8th in total blocks. So pretty wild. It's in total blocks. He only trails Brook Lopez, who leads everybody with 39 blocks in 15 games. Bol is 2nd in total blocks. Zubac is 3rd. Kevin Durant is 4th. Miles Turner is tied for 4th with KD. They both have 30 blocks. Nick Claxton is 6th with 29. Anthony Davis is 7th with 27. And then Poku is tied with Kristaps Porzingis in total blocks. And Porzingis has played 2 more games.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's that for everybody. That's a thing that's happening on planet Earth right now. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll keep going through these shooting percentages and talking about this Thunder team. We'll be right back. And we're back after that quick break. Jeremiah Robinson Earl shooting 41.9% from 3 on almost 3 attempts per game. Is this sustainable? Oh, by the way, for all you Dort haters out there, he's shooting 61% from 0 to 3 feet. All y'all can kiss it.
I used the past. Not sure which past, but I was referring to the past. Like
his rookie season. the bubble year where he's having a hard time with the pandemic. Okay. He's nervous about COVID when he's getting toward the rim. Give him a break. Give Dort a break. Hashtag give Dort a break. Okay,
I'm
Jeremiah.
not.
I
You
know.
know,
I
I'm
know.
not.
I know you want. JRE, 41.9% from three on almost 3 attempts per game. How do we
Yeah.
feel about this?
I feel like if it was a stock, I would sold every single penny of it. I will sell it every single penny of it. If it's something where if I have to guess though, he's not the guy that will revert to 35% like he was last season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the shot is better. But the odds that he finishes above 39% are slim to me. If you say 38.5 higher or lower, I would be probably slightly under, but not that much.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if he's between 38 and 39 by the end of the season. I would tend to say that the over-under that was set is 38.5, and I would keep the under.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Last season from the corners, he was 34.8%. In this season, he's 42.9%. And he's talked about the difference that Chip has made on his shot and just making minor tweaks with it. So
it looks good.
It does look good. I mean, if he's a 42 or even let's say he's 39% from the corners, this is a helpful player. Whether he's a bench guy, whatever he is, just to have a spacer where it's like, hey, we know we have to close out to Jeremiah Robinson Earl.
But do we?
I think if he shoots that well from the corners, eventually,
this is the Al Horford conundrum, where he will never close out on Al Horford.
I think he'll be a better. Al Horford takes 5 years to get his shot off from the perimeter. Part of the reason why it doesn't matter, because like as he's winding up, you're like, all right, Al Horford, everybody, attention, everyone, Al Horford 3, and he's still winding up. Like, yeah, sure, Jeremiah's got a quicker trigger than that.
No,
you're not a believer. You are a non-believer over here.
No, I think that these players are to be
Let me read to you Al Horford from the corners for the last 4 years: 37.8%, 22%, 27%, 26%.
He doesn't shoot for the corner. He's a top of the key kind of guy.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I'm not saying that
Jeremiah from the corner. You don't think anybody will ever care about it?
No, I'm not saying this. I'm saying that you have to weaponize these guys. Like, he can be extremely helpful in a unit where he can have as many threes as Mike does when he's on the court.
Yeah.
Like, if it's every time he's open, he's going to take it, it will change.
Yeah.
It will matter. But those shots are going to shift, from someone to JRE.
Yeah.
In that case, if you have JRE with a 3-point rate quite high, then I can see him becoming a weapon. I don't see him becoming a weapon when the other defense feel that if I leave him there, I will probably pay 8 points on average, which is not nothing. But if it's going bad for me and he hits 3 threes, it's not going to be 7. Like with Mike Muscala, if you leave him out there, he will take 10 threes and he will make 7, and you are going to lose. No matter what else happens on the court. With JRE, I don't have this feeling, and nor have this feeling opponent defense don't have this feeling as well. So you have to create that. If OKC wants to do that, sure. I see though too many mouths to feed. I think he can be helpful. Without that shot, he is surely not helpful. But I mean, you understand what I mean.
I do. I think at some point he's got to take, if he is the lone guy that they're letting take these shots, that he's got to take a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw this with Grant Williams in the playoffs last year with Boston. is he was that guy, the exact guy you're describing. He doesn't take. I think, let me look back and see. Like, the most attempts he took in a game in the regular season was 8. And that's not a lot. The most he took in the playoffs, 18. In a game against Milwaukee where they just pummeled them to end the series. And they just left him open. They just said, we're going to let Grant Williams beat us. And he scored 27 points that night because they just let Grant Williams shoot. Just let him do it. He was 10 of 22 from the field, 7 of 18 from 3. He's got to be willing to be that guy. He also had a game where he shot 6 of 9 in game 2, where Boston beat Milwaukee by a pretty significant margin as well. And then Miami didn't let him go wild. The most he had against Miami was 5. And then against Golden State, the most he took was 4. So I don't know. And this is also the Milwaukee defense that's just famous for just letting guys go ballistic from 3 because they'll just leave guys open. They're like, we don't care. They're not that anymore. They're not that this season, but I don't know. I think having a reliable shooter from the corner, which is something Oklahoma City has been desperate for their entire existence, I think could be pretty valuable.
Yes, especially if he's consistent, something that we will have to monitor, because if he's I don't know, most of the nights he is going to be 2 out of 4, and some nights 1 out of 3, and the sum is 42. Then it means consistency. It means that no matter how the defense is treating you, you will get efficient possessions out of JRE anyway. But it will not create the same thing that happens with Tre Mann. Tre Mann is, if you look at the stats, he's not a better 3-point shooter than JRE. He was barely better last season. But I can promise you, defenses are paying attention already. Because defenses have seen what happens if you let Tre Mann getting into a flow. It's similar to what Jordan Poole was last season for the Warriors. I mean, if you let him cook, you are going to have troubles. And so you will not let him get hot from 3. With Jerry, you say, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Tre Mann is just so much more dynamic. It's like comparing apples to bananas here,
Yeah, but he like the defense could say the same. Okay, do your thing. I will just stay 2 feet away from you or 10 feet away, and you can just step back. I'll stay here and just allow you. Some defense do with guys like Jordan Clarkson. They would just stare at him, stay at a reasonable distance, and saying, okay, I don't trust your dribble jumper to create a lot of damage for me. It's the same way people are guarding Russ. Yeah, sure, do it. Shot as many times as you want. With men is not like that, even if the percentage are not like that. I think that this is related to the fact that there is danger in letting Tre Mann cook.
Yeah, he's had 20-point quarters here and there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next one. We got our 2 guys that aren't as big a part of the offense. Isaiah Joe at 42%. That could be sustainable. He's just a really good shooter.
Yeah.
He'll be around that. And then Eugene at 54%. Easily
that seems unsustainable.
Yeah, it's not tenable at all. He's not that. He's definitely not that. So, okay, we can fire through these next ones. There are 5 players on the Thunder shooting 50% or better from the field. Eugene shooting the best at 57%. Again, not sustainable. SGA, 53%.
Yeah, give it or take. I think that Shai is give it or take what he is right now.
Isn't that insane? At that volume, that he's able to, that you see it and you're like, yeah, I think that's about right. That's about how he shoots.
Yeah, right now he's not leveraging his 3-point shooting. Hardly anything. I think that he will counter-react to what defenses are doing right now, which is sending extra man and doing stuff like that to be like he will leverage the 3-point shooting more, and defenses will stretch out a little bit more, and he can get back to the, hey, if you stretch out, I'm going to kill you. So maybe 53 is too much, but I would bet something between 49 and change and 52.
Yeah. How about this first stat? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has taken the 7th most field goal attempts in the NBA, only behind Luka, Trae Young, Jason Tatum, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker. So the only guys that have taken more. He is shooting better than all of those guys.
Yeah.
Not one of those players is shooting better than Shai from the field. In fact, you go to the next one. It would take you 50 guesses to guess who is 8th in shot attempts in the NBA so far this season. I'll give you 3 guesses. Play along in the chat. Let me know if you give yourself 3 guesses in the chat too.
The 8th?
Number 8 in shot attempts in the entire league
Total
this season.
shot attempts. Damn, this is difficult. Can you? No, it's not Lou Dort.
No, it's not Lou Dort. He's in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Alex Bowler-Jack says De'Aaron Fox. No.
No.
Russell Westbrook from Kirk T. No.
There is an opinion that is forming in my head.
Larry Markkinen. No.
No.
He's in the top
They're
20.
all, he said Eastern Conference, guys. Come on.
Jason Tatum. He already
No.
said his name. He's in the top 10.
No.
He's
No.
number 3.
Is he playing for a team that is currently not 500?
Yeah,
He's below 500.
He's not a bad team. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he?
He was on the Thunder.
Oh. It's not Theo Maiden.
Terrazier, no. It's from Great Babe. Tyrese Maxey from Kirk T. No.
No. He was on the Thunder?
Kind of.
No, I don't know. I give up.
Kelly Oubre Jr. is
Oh, I
taking
would never.
8. I know. That's what I'm saying. Who would
Never.
have guessed that? He's taking more shots than Ja Morant this year. He's taking more shots than Jalen Green this year.
Wow.
Isn't that
That is
wild?
Crazy.
Anyways, back to my shocking Shai stat. You have to go all the way down to Larry Markkinen at 18th in field goal attempts to find somebody that shot better than Shai from the field. I mean, it is pretty crazy that he's been able to do this. And then you get to Markkinen, he's 54%. And then you have to go all the way down to Anthony Davis, who's at 31 in shot attempts per game at 55%. De'Aaron Fox is 55% too, which is pretty wild. It also makes you feel like, oh my gosh, maybe this Kings thing isn't very sustainable at all. If he's shooting 55%, he's not going to do that. There's just very few guys in the top 50. I think there's 4 guys in the top 50 that are shooting 53% or better in shot attempts. And then
which make you think that maybe also a little bit for Shai is not entirely sustainable. I mean, the Memphis game will happen quite a lot. So we'll see.
Yeah. I'm very, very intrigued to see how this continues for Shai because he's played like a top 5 guy in the NBA this year. And I am like now more fully convinced that Shai can be a number 1 on an NBA team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he can sustain, 31 points on 53% from the field. I don't know if he can do that or not. If he can, then he's like surpassed he's a number 1 guy. Like he's like this is a superstar. Like this is one of the better players in the league.
Yeah.
Full stop.
I mean, 30 points on 50-49 is KD level scoring.
It's KD level. This is like, I mean, it's like, this is what
Curry level scoring.
MVPs. Yeah. This is what Steve Nash used to do just on the reg, but not at this volume and not at,
exactly.
it's just,
which tells you that it won't happen. but also tells you that it's been 20 games. If you maybe 25, if you use the second part of last season, that he's kind of doing that.
Yeah, I know. As a Thunder fan, you should be feeling very excited about the way that he has played and the way the mid range just looks so easy and getting to the basket and taking threes. And, everybody's, we need to get Shai some help. They're getting him help currently by way of developing players that are on the roster. And you've got your guy who's out of a boot now in practice, looking pretty good out there. You have that, waiting for you, plus whoever they get in this next draft, plus the fact that they're going to have multiple picks when this guy is in his true prime. Right now he's in his pre-prime. This isn't even the best of what we're going to see from him.
Yeah.
And Mark has even said as much that, he's been really good this year. This is not the best that he can play. That's what Mark Daigneault said.
It's not
and
common
so
that he says something like
this. This is going to, I think we haven't hit the ceiling of what Shai can be. And that should be scary and exciting for Thunder fans that they've somehow done it again with him.
Yeah. And
this is a gap. This is a gap year. This is a gap year.
Yeah. And again, for the crew that is saying, hey, get him some help, I really want them to say who are going to target. We half jokingly said on Twitter about Keontae George. It is someone that the Thunder may use, and there were tons of people saying, no, he's not the right one. I mean, guys, it's the first guy that we do for real. It was kind of a joke. It was kind of a like.
I watched one game yesterday, and I'm like, man, I like him.
Me too. I was watching clips this morning. It's nice. It's fun.
The passing, so we will talk about this. We'll do like a full podcast on him for the OKC Dream Team. So if you want to check that out, patreon.com/OKC Dream Team.
Yeah,
access those podcasts.
Yeah, my point is, who is the best help for Shai? Is he someone that replaces Giddey? Is he someone that replaces Lu Dort? Is someone that replaces Chet? We don't know. We don't possibly know. And you don't have many avenues to get at the guy. Yeah. Look at the team that made a move. Minnesota.
Yeah.
Are they beating their nails and trying to crunch their even their bones because they didn't offer anything for Murray instead of Gobert? Would they be better off waiting a week and sending an extra pick and getting Mitchell? I mean,
maybe they should have offered 3 picks for Lauri Markkanen instead.
Who knows? But the point is, sometimes having an opportunity is important. Like Cleveland had a clear opportunity.
No doubt.
And they made a move. Yep. Sometimes having an opportunity and pulling the trigger, like they did with OKC did with Paul George and stuff like that, is something that you do. Mm-hmm. But don't condemn OKC because they are waiting to see this team a little bit more formed before they make a decision. Because in LA, you have multiple bites at the apple. Even if they screw up big time, they are in LA, and next summer they can be right on track. Right back on track.
Yep.
If you are LA on the other side of the spectrum, same. If you are Golden State, same. If you are Oklahoma City, you don't have many avenues.
You have to be so intentional.
Yeah.
You can't have these years where you're just like, oh man, we screwed that up. Let's try again. We'll get the right role players in here next year. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You can't do that if you're OKC.
Because when you make a move, if it's not the move, then yes, Shai will be gone immediately. Yeah. Like if he's the man and you bring another one that is sort of the man, if things don't work well immediately, then it's trouble. Mm-hmm. Then it's big trouble. Then you risk losing everything in 1 or 2 seasons. It happened with better teams, like fully formed teams. So it's dangerous. Don't be too greedy, wanting OKC moving now. Just enjoy the fact that Shai is great, that the young players are showing off, and that you have at least 3-4 years before making a real judgment in what Sam Presti did in this rebuild. In year 4 from now, you can really say, oh, no, this is not what I...
Yeah. Oh, they didn't make the right choice with this guy or that guy, or they didn't develop this guy right. I mean, who knows? We just don't know. We don't know who the second best player on the team is today. We don't know who the second best player on the team is going to be next year. I think we have a good idea that it's going to be Chet. But what if it's J-Dub? What if it is Trey Man? What if it is Poku? Like, we just don't know. We have no idea.
Yeah.
This is why you have to take this thing slowly with Shai. And Shai, that's the thing, is like Shai is bought in. So this is a year like to truly sit back and say, let's just enjoy how this unfolds and not have to make immediate judgment calls on like, oh, this needs to happen, or this is never going to work, or this is the best, or this is, I mean, the truth is nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how this is going to turn. Usman Jang could be the second best player on this team. Heck, he could be the best player on this team. We just don't know. We have no clue. All the Thunder know right now, all that we know as observers of the Thunder, is that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is at All-Star plus status right now.
Yeah.
And that is a huge advantage for a team that is developing guys like Dort, Giddey, Mann, Jalen Williams, Poku, Aaron Wiggins, JRE, Jang. I mean, it's a huge advantage because they get to learn work ethic stuff from this guy. If you look back to Shai from high school, every single year of his entire life, people have looked at him and said, you are this. We're not sure that you can get much better. And every year, he leapfrogs that. He did it again this year. This would have been the year that I was like, I don't know if he can really do that. I'd probably be saying it myself, knowing that I talked to him the year prior and saying those exact things to him. Is like, hey, you have outpaced expectations every single year of your life when it comes to basketball. And he continues to do it. And it's just outstanding. And I'm just intrigued to see what this looks like. I hope Trey Man plays tonight. I just think it's really fun. I hope Bazley plays tonight. Especially with the absence of Poku, I think it's really hard for this team to win without somebody like Bazley or Poku in there, because they don't have anybody with length or athleticism able to protect the rim at all. I think the absence of Poku in the second half of that Memphis Grizzlies game really hurt them. One, he was playing really, really well, and then two, they didn't have anybody that could block a shot in there.
Yeah.
Which, didn't
or guard JJJ on the perimeter.
JJJ's a beast, man. He is a beast. All right, let's finish out the percentages here, and then we will go. Jeremiah's 53% from the field.
Yeah, that looks...
As a big guy, and he takes almost exclusively easy shots, like open threes or dunks and layups. Like that's his shot diet. So and maybe even get better.
Yeah, maybe.
J-Dub, Jalen Williams, 52.2% from the field.
That seems too high.
That is an interesting number, though. To me, I'm very intrigued by that in particular, just because he's not shooting the ball well from three.
Yeah.
Overall, he's 47 of 90 on the season. He's 9 of 30 from three, 30%. I think the number from the field will go down and the number from three will go up.
Not above 34%, otherwise I'll owe you a pizza for the first time.
I have faith that he'll get there. 63% from two.
Yeah.
This season, 70-something% from 0 to 3 feet. Let me find that number. 76.7%.
That is very high. He's dunking quite a lot.
Yeah. And that's a part of his game, is just the basketball IQ.
Yeah.
just knowing when to finish and what shots to try to finish there. And then Isaiah Joe finishing this up 52% from the field. It's a low number of attempts.
No, I would say 30 for Isaiah Joe. It's a good number. 35. No, I'm kidding. But I would not be terribly surprised if he's actually more of a 40, low 40 from the field.
Yeah. He's shooting 83% from 2, which is kind of wild. But he hadn't taken any shots from 0 to 3 feet or from 3 to 10. He's made all of his shots from 10 to 16 feet, which is like none.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest are these like 16 to 3-point range, 75% on those, which comprises 16% of his shots. So he's just shooting out of his mind. The Thunder got the Knicks tonight in Oklahoma City. Should be an interesting game. I will be in the building for this one. This is the Thunder went hog wild in New York against them. Any predictions for tonight?
Oh boy.
No Poku tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like prediction.
You have to do it anyways.
I think they will. I think that they will have a chance to win, and I would lean towards that compared to the other choice, but not really in a definitive way. This is basically how I have a good friend who is I think almost 70, and he works for our legal department, and he never say anything definitive. And it's almost a joke now. I say, would you recommend it? No, I'm saying that I would not recommend the opposite.
Yeah. So defensive rating the last 10 games for the Knicks, 113.2. That's 23rd in the league.
That's nice.
Their offense is a 110.1, worse than the Thunder's. They're a -3 net rating in the last 10 games. Good for 26th in the league. Give me a Thunder win tonight, especially after a frustrating loss against Memphis on a long road trip. They've had a few days off. I think the Thunder get back on track, and I think they beat this Knicks team, who are 8-9 on the season. They're okay. They kind of stink. They're not really well equipped to play the pace that the Thunder do. How about this before we go? The NBA just announced their Eastern and Western Conference Players of the Week. They are Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox. Has there ever been another duo, guys that used to play together? This situation. It's just really interesting, isn't it? That these two get split up, and it's like, oh yeah, it's actually worked out for both of you guys. You guys probably shouldn't have been playing together, anyways. Pretty wild.
It's weird. I am yet to decide if that trade was better for one of the team, or if it's just I'm convinced that this was basically a net zero for both teams.
Yeah, but just move the pieces around. Like Domas has been a huge reason why Sack has been so good.
Yeah,
on offense at least. Defensively, he's also a reason why they stink on defense. Okay, well, enjoy the game tonight. We'll have another podcast for you guys on Wednesday. I believe we'll still have the regular schedule this week for the show, despite Thanksgiving being here. So should be no disruptions there. We'll let you guys know some changes. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday, and we'll talk to you guys again on Wednesday.